Hello friends, James Stevenson back with another episode of Who's Hating Hard on Tesla Today? Today's hater is going to be Fly4Dat once again. He has earned his way onto the Who's Hating Hard on Tesla Today countdown for his dumb tweets. I'm joined as always by my co-host Loki, who is angry with his big cushy comfy furry bed right now. He heard somebody outside earlier and barked, and there was nobody there. So that's your Loki update for today. What are we talking about? The topic for today is this tweet from Fly4Dat, which I had to reply to. Fly4Dat saying, in December 2022, Troy, meaning Troy Teslake, expected 1.96 million deliveries for this year, with 496,000 and 530,000 in Q3 and Q4 respectively, at 25 to 30% higher prices. Now he expects 1.79K. He means M. He means 1.79 million vehicles for the year, with 447 and 451. So Troy's deliveries estimate has come down, is what this tweet is about. While letting this sink in, wait for his 2024 estimate, hashtag Tesla, hashtag Tesla Q. So a typical Fly4Dat tweet here. What's he saying? He's saying because the bulls... I mean, if you can call Troy Teslake a bull, he is very center of the road, in my opinion. Because their forecasts are coming down, that means Tesla is doomed. It's a bankruptcy story. The growth story is over. Tesla is a zero. All the stuff he's been saying since 2018. Right? He thinks this is the proof that instead of Tesla growing, by 40%, they're going to grow by 30% this year on the deliveries front. All right, so what room does Fly4Dat have to criticize the forecast adjustments being made by others? That was my question. So I replied, in 2019 and 2020, you thought hashtag Tesla was going to deliver 0 vehicles in 2023. Troy was closer. Yeah, so who was more right? The person who thought 1.95 or 1.96 million was the right number, or the person who thought 0 was the right number? Tesla has already sold way over 1 million vehicles, so we know which forecast is closer already with 2 quarters left to report. All right, so what do these screenshots say? Let's take a look. Someone was encouraging Fly4Dat to go long on the 23rd of December 2019. Go long for your own sake. You actually seem reasonable. Anonymous Tesla hater, short seller, and troll Fly4Dat replying, ha, never been a better time to short this point of sale system. I know it means something else in this context, but this is a family-friendly show. Can understand the logic behind that, given the current all-time high, but what if the stock doubles or trebles in the next year? Treble is a synonym for triple. Fly4Dat saying, regardless, Tesla is a 0. Only question is timing. And if you thought on the 23rd of December 2019, he meant that the timing could be more than 4 years before Tesla goes bankrupt, he definitely didn't mean that. He expected Tesla to go bankrupt long before now. All right, what else do we have here? Another screenshot. Somebody asked, do you seriously think Tesla is still going to 0? Same day, December 23rd. No, that's 1 year later to the day. December 23rd of 2020. Yeah, he likes sending dumb tweets on the 23rd of December, I guess. Now, this may be too small for some of you to read, but I'm sorry. I can't do any better than this on the way this is visualized. I'll just read it to you. He said, with the raises at these valuations, it will take much longer, but yes, it will inevitably go to 0. Structurally unprofitable, with huge off-balance sheet obligations like legal. So Dragon God replied, wow, Tesla has demonstrated unfettered access to capital markets, has a strong first-mover advantage in some markets, for example, the U.S., e.g. is Latin for exempli gratia, so a free example. in Latin, has a multi-billion-dollar brand, and governments have mandated a shift to EVs. They have sizable auto margins and so are actually profitable. And I'll add parenthetically, you big dummy, Tesla is not structurally unprofitable. No matter how many times Tesla Q, your Tesla Q friends who you follow claim that Tesla is structurally unprofitable, that was never true. So Fly4Dat replies, margins are fraudulent. If all else fails, if all of your bare thesis points are falling on deaf ears, you can always go with the numbers are all fake. That's the last holdout, the last respite of the desperate Tesla short seller. The numbers are all fake. Is a great fallback strategy when you're investing. The U.S. will be hit when legacy enters, and in fact, Tesla hasn't been growing since 2018, Fly says. Remember that for later. So Dragon God says Tesla's U.S. market share has been about 80%. It's a pseudo-monopoly for EVs in the U.S. There's nowhere left to grow. As for margins, full self-driving is currently $10,000 plus of high margins per car, as often as people buy the full self-driving package. Subscriptions would grant recurring high-margin revenue per car, so a software as a service monthly subscription revenue stream is going to be all profit, right? All the other DLCs, downloadable content, are high margin, so like the acceleration boost you can download for some Teslas. Fly4Dat claims here, crucially, to be remembered later, the absolute numbers don't grow. The narrative is that the market is exploding, and so will Tesla. It's just not happening. So Fly4Dat here claiming very clearly that Tesla's deliveries won't grow. Absolute numbers won't grow, he said. What else do we have here? BFK Lin, another short seller of Tesla, saying, wow, you're all in. Congrats on that short. I saw it but didn't do enough research. This trade is either way down or short squeeze. Looking at Boeing on the short side. Well, I shouldn't have said he was a short seller. I just knew that the sentiment here was favorable to Fly4Dat's strategy on June the 5th of 2019, which was the day after the 5-year low of Tesla stock. It hit $176.99 on June 4th, 2019, and has never traded that low since. Fly4Dat here, on that occasion, tweeting, paid off quite well even after the last 2 days, which hurt as I'm taking extreme risk. Alright, so maybe it was the 3rd instead of the 4th. Or there was an intraday thing on the 4th or whatever. What's fair value to you, or do you see Tesla Q, meaning bankruptcy? You've got skin in the game, so you must have researched this if you're putting all of your money into this short position. And Fly said, I see inevitable bankruptcy, which is what BK is short for. Not even Chapter 11 anymore. Whatever delivery number they'll print in 4 weeks, losses will be huge, and Q3 will be much tougher than Q2. It's the end game, in my humble opinion, just slower than I'd like it to be. There you go. So that was Fly4Dat's assessment. Tesla would have huge losses every quarter until they filed for bankruptcy. That's when Tesla was trading at its 5-year low, almost to the day. So I said all that to Fly. What did he reply to me? He said, anyone expecting 0 deliveries was closer than you. And he provided a screenshot of his own from his buddy at MarkMTV3, who's also hating hard on Tesla every day. I forgot to roll the who's hating hard on Tesla today sizzle earlier, so I wanted to make sure all you HHHTT fans got your sizzle in at some point during the video. So what did Mark tweet? He's such a nice guy. He tweeted, happy 5-year anniversary to Elon Says Simp's forecast that hashtag Tesla would had sold 1,8 million cars years ago and made $30 billion profit. Clown emoji. Alright, so what do we have here? This is the European date format for March 16th, 2019. So 3 months before the tweets upstairs where Fly4Dat was saying bankruptcy is inevitable, I sent out this forecast that there's really terrible screenshots of. So I'll keep going before I show you what this forecast actually said. I replied, my pre-COVID forecast was only off by 3/4. Your forecasts were wrong by direction, magnitude, and timing. Mine were right directionally, right by magnitude, and wrong only by timing. I got the story right, Fly4Dat. You got the story wrong. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. So Fly says, you expected 489,000 deliveries at 92,000 ASP. 92,000 ASP, that doesn't sound like me. For 2021 Q3, they won't reach the delivery figure before 2024 Q4 at the earliest. Okay, so here's Fly4Dat saying Tesla cannot deliver 489,000 vehicles in any quarter until the end of 2024. So put a pin in that. See if Tesla can beat this number in any of the next 5 quarters. If ever, at less than half of the ASP of 92K that he cited, with CPI in the skies, you'd better remain very silent, says Fly4Dat to me, as though he has any power at all, as an anonymous a picture of a fly troll account whose profile bio is, will cover my Tesla Q short at $0. He thinks he has power over telling me what I can and can't do. All right, so I had to reply, here's the 2021 forecast I published most recently. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Let me pay off some of the stuff I said I was going to get to. So here's one of them. This is the forecast that you saw screenshots of above. Maybe you were thinking, James must have deleted that old forecast because it was so wrong. Well, no, I don't delete old tweets. I don't delete old forecasts. The only tweets I delete are tweets that have factual inaccuracies in them, and then I replace them with a factually correct tweet, right? So from March 16th, 2019, we saw that date. Here was my Tesla forecast. Let's go looking for the $92,000 ASP that I forecast. Now, I should note, this was a very primitive forecast for me. Like, these were off by a lot. I always warn you that whatever you forecast, it will be wrong. Tesla was going through kind of a very weird time right here. So in 2018, Tesla had just ended the year with 83,000 and then 90,000 deliveries. I was forecasting a decline from Q4 to Q1, but I didn't forecast anything close to the decline I needed to forecast. 2019 Q1 turned out to be a really terrible quarter. I was planning for a loss to happen that quarter, and we sure got one. Bigger than this, and Q2 was also a loss, if memory serves. So I was using these, Q3 and Q4, as my basis, and even though I took it down in Q1, my growth rates were just too aggressive from there on, and the further out into the future you apply a growth rate that's too aggressive, the more off these amounts are going to be out here. So that happened, and you know, the first rule of forecasting is whatever you forecast, it will be wrong. The second rule of forecasting is be less wrong, and I've been trying to do that. Like, I threw out this whole forecasting approach and replaced it with the one I've been using for several years now that I developed in mid-2020, and it's been more accurate than this old method was, where I was really just applying growth rates and seeing how that shook out. Okay, let's look at the second tweet in the thread, which was not in the screenshot. So these are the underlying assumptions that get you to these summary figures that were on the first tweet. So here's my average selling prices. So what were they in 2018? 85, 76, 70, 66. What did I have from there on out? How quickly did I ramp up to the 92,000 ASP Fly was talking about? Well, I forecast it down to 62, 55, 56, 57, 58, 57, 57, 56, 59, 61. Wait a minute. There's no 92 here. So this is the one that he was calling out. Q3 of 2021, Fly said my forecast was 92,000. It was actually 59,000. And if that sounds like that might have been pretty close to what Tesla actually reported, I was curious about that, so I decided to make a spreadsheet. All right, so let's take a look at the top of this page first, and then we'll come back and do the bottom of the page next. There, that's better. Well, I should zoom in here some more for you. The important part is here. I've got some stuff off to the side, but yeah, this is gonna fit your screen better. Okay, and I'll just talk about the forecast from early 2019. So we just saw March 16th, 2019. I put out my forecast for 2021 deliveries. It was 1,837,528. Now that's a pre-COVID forecast, and it was wrong. What were the actuals as Tesla reported them? They were 930,422. Fly's forecast was 0. He said Tesla was going to be bankrupt by 2021 and they wouldn't sell any cars. So he was off by 930,000. I was off by only 907,000. So Fly was wrong when he said anyone who forecast 0 was closer than you, if you actually check the math. But there's another way to check the math that I think is important, which is to look at it relative to what the most recent full year of actuals was. In March of 2019, the most recent full year of actuals, Tesla had delivered 245,506 vehicles, according to their earnings release, right? So what was the CAGR, the compound annual growth rate, from there to here? It was 56%. What was Fly4Dat expecting? He was expecting negative 100%. He was expecting deliveries to fall from 245,000 to 0, which is a CAGR of negative 100%. If you don't believe me, do the math yourself. That's what it is. What was my CAGR? 96%. So my CAGR was too high, but it was too high by 40 points. Fly4Dat's CAGR was too low by 156 points. So by that measure, my forecast was 4 times more accurate. At least I got the direction right. At least I thought Tesla's deliveries were going to grow by a lot, and they did. And I've got some check figures out here that show you what the straight line would have been if Tesla had grown by exactly 56% per year in 2019, 2020, and 2021 to get to these actual reported numbers and to my forecasted numbers. All right. So yeah, I was 1 year early. I was growing a year too fast over a 3-year time horizon, forecasting 939,000 deliveries in 2020, which was the COVID year. It turned out to be the COVID year. We didn't know that in early 2019. We got nearly that many in 2021. Okay, then as to this question of the 2021 ASP forecast, well, we know Fly4Dat thought that Tesla would be bankrupt by Q3 of 2021. So his forecast was for 0. My forecast, as we have just seen in the tweet that's still up, you can go find it yourself if you want. My ASP for Tesla in total globally was 59,213. The actuals Tesla reported in Q3 of 2021 were 49,948. So I was within $10,000 on my ASP forecast, and Fly4Dat was off by almost $50,000 per vehicle. Tesla actually sold in Q3 2021. Then how well did Fly4Dat do saying what my ASP was? Well, he was off by 32,787 on just reporting how much I forecast. So you have to check these Tesla Q-types when they claim that you forecast something to make sure that's actually what you forecast, as we just saw. All right, so the next thing that I mentioned in my tweet, let's make sure I can click someplace that won't screw it up. So there's that one. Let's go back to the main thread. where I said, here's the 2021 forecast I published most recently, before you tweeted the screenshot below claiming Tesla will inevitably go to zero. How'd I do? Better than you or worse? I've got a link down here to the forecast I sent out on November 1st, 2020. Let's show you this screenshot before I miss it. Somebody asked, do you seriously think #Tesla is still going to zero? Fly said, with the raises at these valuations, it will take much, much longer, but yes, it will inevitably go to zero. Structurally unprofitable. Did I already do this? It feels very deja vu. All right, so I'm going to assume I did that screenshot already in this video. And just keep going and pay it off and tell you, I had to reply to myself here because I'm the only reply. Fly did not want to bring more attention to the fact that my forecast from November 1st, 2020, before 2021 began, I am not cheating this in any way. I got nothing for free on this forecast. Q4 hadn't even been reported yet of 2020, so I was forecasting. I was forecasting Q4 still of 2020 in this forecast before I could even get to the 4 quarters of 2021. And, well, I guess I have to take you back to my spreadsheet now and do this section. So the forecast from November, December 2020, I'm going to give Fly credit for saying that Tesla would not grow as his forecast. So the most recent year of actuals at the time had been 367,656, and Fly4Dat said the absolute numbers will not grow in that screenshot we just saw. So I gave him that. I could have given him the prior year because he said that there's been no growth since 2018. I could have said his forecast was 245,506. He doesn't actually publish a forecast, so I don't have one I can reference. But let's say that his expectation for 2021 was that Tesla would deliver the same flat deliveries in 2021 that we saw in the most recently reported full fiscal year. So his forecast was low by 562,766. What did I forecast on November 1st, 2020? For the full year 2021 deliveries, I forecast 884,940. What did Tesla actually report? 930,422. They beat my forecast by 45,482 units. So, how much was the compound annual growth rate from 2019, the most recently reported year, through 2021? It was 36%. So let me. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me fix this. These were using 3 years worth of compounding, and they should be using only 2. Let me fix this real quick. So if it grows from 2019 to 2021, that's only 2 years worth of growth. And then I'll drag these, or I'll copy and paste these over. And I don't need this column anymore. And I'll delete these. Actually, I need to put an apostrophe there. And then, okay, that's fixed. So at a 59% CAGR is what we actually got. I was using the 3 years formula that I used up top because this one was going off a 2018 basis, and then I changed it to a 2019 basis, but in both of these examples, we're showing the growth to 2021. So in the top example, that's a 3-year time horizon. In the bottom example, it's only a 2-year time horizon. Okay, so Tesla actually achieved 59% compound annual growth. Fly expected 0, so he was off by 59 points. I forecast a 55% compound annual growth rate for Tesla deliveries. I was off by 4 points. I was low by 4 points. All right, so that's the deliveries question. If the question is, hey, who's better at forecasting deliveries growth? Well, Fly was forecasting no growth, and I was forecasting 55% growth, and then we got 59% growth. So I hope that answers that question. then how about the earnings? People say, hey, who cares about the deliveries? Who cares about the revenue? How did you do forecasting the earnings? Well, let's look. My forecast was for $8 billion, $7 million worth of earnings in the full year 2021. That was my forecast on November 1st, 2020. Is this going to fit the screen okay? Yeah, that fits all right. What did Tesla actually report? $7,640 million. And part of these results were, where is it? SG&A. So I was off by $746 million on SG&A, but $340 million of that was a one-time payroll tax associated with Elon exercising his stock options from his 2012 plan during the year 2021. So Tesla had to pay taxes on Elon's options of $340 million. If not for that, I would have been within $27 million on the non-GAAP earnings line, which is close enough for me. But you can see none of these were off. I mean, so if you look at the revenue lines here and you look at the cost of goods sold lines here, this is the net of the revenue. This is the automotive gross margin impact, right? So I was off by way less than $1 billion on automotive gross margin. And then had some offsetting errors, forecasting, research and development, provision for income tax, etc. But in total, those netted out to almost exactly what I forecast before 2021 began. And that was the end of Fly4Dat's involvement in this thread. Let's hit the back button here and see what I got as my replies. Oh, Teslaverse at TSLA replied, "Fly disappeared. You work better than an insecticide spray." Which I liked. Alright, and that's our episode of Who's Hating Hard on Tesla today. Once again, it was Fly4Dat claiming groundlessly that he's so good at forecasting that he has room to criticize the forecasts of others, despite having forecast Tesla's bankruptcy every year for 4 years now, and seeing its valuation increase by hundreds of billions of dollars instead. With that, I will outro after checking in with my co-host Loki in the Loki spot, still snoozing over there. And I'll say, if you enjoyed today's video, click the like button. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, why not go ahead and subscribe to my channel? If you're watching me on YouTube, you can do that by clicking a little button I'll leave over here. And thank you to everyone who supports me, whether that's on Patreon or on X, for $3 a month, which is 69 cents per week, or by joining my YouTube channel as my executive producers Kathy Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com did. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.